What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Gilpin. I'm here today from FloGrappling to talk to you guys a little bit about the rankings. I am the person who has been doing the rankings for FloGrappling. I'm the one that's getting yelled at online for these. But I want to give you guys a little bit of an insight into why we're making some of the decisions that we're making, why some of the people are, some of the places that they are. And we have some big rankings updates for this week. We have not just the no-gi rankings updated, but also the gi rankings, of course. After big Brazilian Nationals, we have the 185-pound Grand Prix that happened. We're going to talk about all of it. Let's start with the Grand Prix action at BJJ Stars 15. It was Mica coming out, winning the bracket, torching the field, especially in the finals. Had a great finals match against Roberto Jimenez where he looked awesome, hitting that armbar early on in the match. Mica is going to shoot all the way up to number 2 in the world. Off of this, coming into this bracket, this is a very tough bracket with a lot of world-ranked guys and a lot of movement, but you consider that Mica, at 185 pounds at the Who's Number 1 Championships, lost to Tai Ruotolo in the finals. I still have to honor that result, and so we're still going to favor Tai as the number 1 guy. Shout out to Tai, who also was able to pick up a pretty good win over Dante Leon, defending his 185-pound championship. So obviously Tai, still one of the best in the world at that weight class, according to FloGrappling. He moves up a little bit in the pound for pound as well. So shout out to all these guys, super tough. The top 6 at 185 pounds is going to go Tai number 1, then you have Mica. We put Ronaldo as 3rd. He has really good wins and not a lot of bad losses, right? This guy won a no-gi world championship. He's undefeated on Fight Pass Invitational. He's been winning a lot on UFC or on Who's Number 1 as well. So I think for consistency and some of those big wins, he deserves that 3rd spot. 4th spot, we're giving to Roberto Jimenez, who obviously has some big wins, made the finals of this tournament, beat Isaac, beat Taza, who's also now in the top 10. But has some losses, has a loss to Couch, lost here in the finals by submission as well. But Roberto, obviously super elite, so he's going to be top 5. And then you have Tynan and Jonatas at 5 and 6 now. Tynan's been picking up a lot of good wins. He has that win over Taza that was very early on in his no-gi career. And considering that Jonatas lost first round to Taza, we think it's proper to have Tynan at 5, Jonatas at 6. I don't have Taza over Jonatas yet because Taza still has some losses at the weight, like he lost to Max Hansen at 185 pounds. There's a couple things we need to consider there. Jonatas has still been super consistent about winning in this weight class. He's the Who's Number 1 champion at this weight class, so he's not going to drop too far, but he drops from number 2 to number 6 based off of that decision loss to Oliver Taza. It was a very close fight as well. Maybe they'll run it back for a trilogy at some point, right? Let's talk about the gi rankings now. Let's get into some of this. Gabi Pessanha lost, and we have to figure out what we're going to do with it in the rankings. What we're going to do is nothing. We're going to keep Gabi Pessanha as the number 1 pound for pound and the number 1 in her weight class. She has been stunningly dominant, 167 wins in a row. The last 27 matches, I think it was, have been by submission, including 2 in the last week before that match where she submitted Tayani before Tayani defeated Gabi. So from a rankings perspective, you have to understand that both pound for pound and weight class, Gabi was so far ahead of the field that her taking 1 loss, even though it was a points loss, it was a clear loss, I don't think it's enough to shake her from that, especially because it's somebody who she's owned that series with, not just historically, but also so recently. So Gabi's going to stay number 1. Tayani moves up to number 2 at her weight class. She also debuts in the top 10 pound for pound. She's taken some other losses to people like Yara, so I don't know if number 2 pound for pound or anything like that is right yet. If Gabi takes another loss very soon, that's going to really affect the rankings in a much bigger way than just this one singular result did. Congratulations to Tayani. It was an absolutely incredible performance there in Sao Paulo. Super shout out. We also got to talk about the men's pound for pound. That was the women's pound for pound. Let's talk about the men's pound for pound a little bit because it didn't change that much, and that might be a surprise because our number 2 athlete, Adam Wardzinski, lost, but we didn't knock him any. That's because he went up in weight. When you are a pound for pound level guy, when you go up and fight another pound for pound level guy and you're moving up in weight class like he did when he fought Eric Muniz, who we have ranked number 1 at super heavy and at ultra heavy, or number 2 at super heavy, but number 1 at ultra heavy, then that's not going to affect you nearly as much as somebody coming up in weight to meet you or something that happens with somebody that's the same size as you. So because of that, we're actually going to keep Adam at number 2. And if he were to win Worlds, it's super on the table that he would still be able to achieve this number 1 pound for pound spot. I don't think that loss to Eric is enough to disqualify him from anything like that. That's certainly not a bad loss. And all these guys have losses. It's very expected in the game. So we're not going to overreact to that one result, right? At men's featherweight, Colabate wins his first major championship in the gi, goes down to Sao Paulo, looks incredible, has a couple great performances, beats world champions like Isaac Doederle. He's beaten other champions this season like Sam Nagai. We move him into the top 5 of the gi rankings for the first time in his career. Is the highest he's ever been ranked. He still has to be behind a couple of guys like Fabricio, like Mayrum, who won Worlds. Fabricio beat Mayrum. Like Pato, who's been so impressive at this weight class, 1 euros and 1 pans. And then behind Kennedy, who beat Cole head-to-head earlier this year. Only fair that those guys are above them, considering their long line of work. But with him picking up wins over guys like Diego Sodre, Isaac Doederle, Cole's in the top 5, and I don't know if he's going to leave that top 5 for a little while, right? He might move a little higher, especially if he has a great performance at Worlds, but I don't think he's coming out of that top 5 anytime soon, even though it's such a competitive weight class. Couple more things I want to get to here, so only another minute. Janaína Maia continues to be one of the stories of this IBJJF season. She's on track for the 2025 Grand Slam, where she wins every major of this calendar year. She picked up a close decision win over Brianna St. Marie. They're now 1-1 in their last 2 meetings, with Brianna winning at the Crown and now Janaína winning in the finals here. They're both super, super elite. I expect to see that match again in the pyramid, but Janaína picks up the win here. Brianna falls to 3rd behind Louisa, who beat BSM at Worlds last year, of course. So that's the weight class. Janaína, Louisa, BSM, all 3 are ranked in the pound for pound. This is one of the toughest weight classes in women's jiu-jitsu. Speaking of tough weight classes in women's jiu-jitsu, Cassia Mora wins a super tough bracket. She beats the number 3 and number 4 ranked girls in her weight class. She now rises up all the way to number 3. Why is that important? Number 1 is Tata. Number 2 is Anna in this weight class. They're both out. Tata welcomed her first child. Congratulations to Tata and Lucas. And then Anna has been out dealing with injuries and ACL reconstruction, I believe it was. And so heading into Worlds, we're going to have one more update before the World Championships, where we take out everybody who hasn't competed since the last World Championships. That means when we do that, Cassia Mora, who's only ranked behind those 2, is going to rise all the way up to number 1, right? So she's going to be the top dog heading into the World Championships for an 18-year-old, 19-year-old maybe, rookie black belt. That's very, very exciting. I think you guys need to keep an eye on that if you want to see something really special going on. That's just a little bit of what's going on with the rankings right now. I wanted to come in here and explain some of those maybe decisions that wouldn't seem super intuitive or obvious coming in. What was I thinking? Why were we doing this? Hopefully that explains a little bit. The next big event that we're looking forward to, it's got to be the World Championships for the gi, of course. Heading into the pyramid is going to be awesome. And then in no gi, I'm obviously keeping an eye on everything that happens at Who's Number 1. Who's Number 1, 29, 28. Coming to you guys pretty soon, June 13th, Friday the 13th. Pick up your tickets now. Costa Mesa, California. I'm Joe Gilpin. Thank you guys so much.